Welcome back to episode 3 of our low score challenge featuring Sonic the Hedgehog 2. The question we will ask is, what's the lowest score possible while beating Sonic 2? Let's find out. So again, the point system is the same as Sonic 1, so if you want to know about how the point system works, go watch episode 1. I'll put the link in the top right hand corner. As you can see, Sonic 2 has a spin dash mechanic that comes with an advantage and a disadvantage. We also have a companion this time too, Tails. Oh Tails, how you make this run so hard. So for anyone who hasn't played a Sonic game, Tails will tend to do what he wants, even though he's following your inputs. Most of the time it'll be try to lose him and hope he doesn't kill anything off screen. In this challenge you're going to see me use my iframes a lot. It's a lot easier than trying to jump over an enemy, just in case Tails decides he wants to kill something. By accident, of course. So you'll see me a lot of the time just run into an enemy, use the iframes to get through, and continue on. And lastly, we still have the 5-minute wait down. So at the end of the stage, we have to wait 5 minutes before crossing the goalpost to not incur any more bonus points. And once again, with the magic of editing, we can skip that part so you guys don't have to wait the 5 minutes like I did, and we can continue on. So Emerald Hill Zone is pretty straightforward. There's no real major concerns in this stage. It's pretty much just hold right and get through as fast as you can, get to the end. Make sure we lose all our rings at the end, and continue on. In Chemical Plant Act 1, there are 2 spots to get through. 1, we have to damage boost through this enemy without killing it. And 2, the ramp near the end of the stage. If we continue to the right, there will be a tube that we can enter. Problem is, by breaking the plug, it gives us points. So jumping just after the loop, we can jump up and bypass the tube and head to the end. And the usual, wait 5 minutes and head into Act 2. So Act 2, I'm going to manipulate Tails to open a door so we can switch paths. Otherwise, there's another plug that we would have to break to gain points. And coming up we have another well-timed jump. Doesn't matter if you miss it, you can go right, it just takes a bit longer. But here it's a speedrun strat, it looks cool, so yeah. I got real lucky on the Chem 2 boss fight, just for the fact that with the rings I had no idea how I was going to get hit and how I was going to fall. So luckily the ledges were up and I fell on that. Tails died and I didn't collect any rings. I'll take the luck and move on. The hardest part of Aquatic Ruins Act 1 is losing your rings at the end by the flies and not having Tails kill them. Also, heart attack moment when I heard Tails spin dashing off screen, just hoping he wouldn't kill anything. Act 2 is all about staying out of the water as much as possible. Just keep Tails out of the water and a few jumps and we can make it to the end, to an easy fight and move on. So for this fight, we just use the spin dash method. Get up the top straight away, spin dash until we get 7, I'm pretty sure it's 7, and then take a hit. And then on the final hit, hopefully you haven't collected any rings, otherwise just take damage again. Hit him for the 8th, and then straight to the end. Up until now, everything has been manageable. Casino Night changes everything. By far the hardest stage in the run. It's all about well-placed jumps, spin dashes, and some pause buffering in some spots too. You really need to know the layout for Casino Night to get through this without taking any points, especially with all the bumpers and colored bumpers, and there's just stuff everywhere. And for reference, there are no save states that I put through these acts. It's from the start of the act to the end of the act. This is all played as one and then cut and edited to speed things up so the video is not an hour and a half, 2 hours long. Act 2, from what I could find, there is one way and one way only to go without doing flip a clip. I try to keep these challenges glitch free, unless it's my only resort, and you'll see one later on in Hilltop Zone. That being said, we head to the Bumper Resort. This act took me 45 minutes to complete from start to finish. Definitely a hard zone to complete in this challenge. The Casino Night boss is very annoying, but with a bit of patience, you get through it. As long as you don't die, everything's sweet, and we can move on to Hilltop Zone. Hilltop Zone Act 1 has our first and only glitch for the run. Since to get to the underground portion of the stage, you need to break through the ground after the loop. And again, we don't want the points. So we go into our bag of tricks to help us out. So we are going to ride this platform, walk off, take damage, and while we have iframes, we will wait in the lava for the platform to land on top of us. That'll push us down into the lava, and the right moment, we will push left to zip right. And if done correctly, we will end by the spring so we can avoid the points. The ending is quite tricky. There are rings everywhere, and to avoid this, I came up with the idea of collecting pretty much all the rings I could, or the ones that would be in my way once I go through that tunnel again. Take the damage to lose them, and then afterwards we'll go back up the tunnel, and then go as fast as we can to land back on top of the loop, and then go to the end and finish the act. In Act 2, we take the high ground to avoid any breaking of ground. And that's it for Act 2. This act was quite easy, and defeating the boss the same. You spend more time waiting at the end than playing the levels. Mystic Cave Zone is one of these stages where it's just a nice, quick, easy, get through level. The only enemies that give you trouble in this stage are those little bright bugs. I don't know what they're called, but we're calling them bright bugs. But they just happen to be in the perfect spot for anywhere, so you can't really spin dash anywhere. But besides that, it's a straightforward level. This is one instance where I was careless and I nearly killed this enemy. Luckily, I was holding right to avoid it, and luckily Tails didn't hit him either, otherwise it would have been the end, and yeah. Not much to say in Act 2. I'll just show you some highlights and a few little bits and pieces, but in this act there's not much to say at all. It's just, again, get to the end, kill the boss, and move on our merry way to Oil Ocean Zone. Oil Ocean Zone is just one big maze. We have the ability to skip a bit by going through the oil. It's a tight window for the spin dashes since the death plane is right there, but it's easier than going up. As you can see, Tails died here, so it doesn't take much to hit the death plane. Just make sure we lose our rings at the end as usual, and that's the end of Act 1. Act 2 is like a labyrinth. You can easily get lost and disorientated in this act. Just get me out of here. I don't know how many paths there are in this stage, but this one worked for me, and Tails wasn't too annoying as well. And next up, everybody's nightmare, Metro Zone. So Metro Zone has 3 acts, each more challenging than the next. I found the slower I went, the harder it was with Tails, so fast worked for me. In these acts, these enemies, we have exploding stars, praying mantises, and crabs. They all want to end your day, and Tails loves to kill them if you get hit. Like all Ocean Zone, Metro is easy to get lost, and in taking the wrong path can cost a lot of time and unwanted enemies and chances to collect points. So since this is a low score challenge, we don't want that. So Act 3 here is definitely the hardest with Tails. It's best to keep him in the air when he's off screen, so when he comes back he's just floating around and you just don't let him hit the ground, because otherwise he seems to kill everything regardless. You go off screen, he spin dashes, he hits something. He's next to you, you take a hit, he wants to kill that enemy. He's defending you, but it's just not worth it. So, Metro 3 boss, quite simple. Just make sure you have some rings coming into this fight, just so you can wipe out the eggs that are floating around him. Sometimes when you do hit him and you take the hit and you lose your rings, they seem to drop through the floor. So you just gotta sort of be careful and try to have enough that you can at least grab one to the end, and then you can take a hit and then finish him off. Then we can move on to the easiest zone in the game, Sky Chase. So Sky Chase, we can just collect rings. Rings don't matter at the end because there is no ending to this. It sort of just phases out into the next stage. So it doesn't matter if you finish with rings or not. As long as we don't hit any enemies, we're good. But for a good 30 seconds of this stage, we can just sit in this top left corner and just chill out and relax and let things roll. Then the last minute and a half, we just have to dodge enemies and finish the stage, and that's the end of that, and we're nearly through the game. So in Wing Fortress, we're going to take a little shortcut. This skips a little bit of the level, making it a lot shorter. So we'll be taking some damage on this blade and walking through it, and a few jumps later, we're at the boss. Try not to get squished by the floating spikes, defeat the laser, lose your rings of course, and then we're off to Death Egg to meet Robotnik and defeat him again. So Death Egg has two parts, Metal Sonic and the Death Egg robot Robotnik. Metal Sonic is easy, 4 hits straight away with a spin dash, and then 4 hits and phase 1 is complete. Phase 2 can be tricky if you're going for hits from behind at the start, because of Robotnik's flame hitbox. This boss takes 12 hits, and I will show you the 9-3 method of defeating this boss. Not the fastest, but it gets the job done. Now that Robotnik's defeated, we can answer the question. What's the lowest possible score to beat Sonic the Hedgehog 2? 11,000 points. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you on the next low score challenge.